East Side Story is the fourth studio album by new wave group Squeeze. The initial concept was for a double LP with one side produced by Elvis Costello, another by Dave Edmunds, a third by Nick Lowe and the fourth possibly by Paul McCartney. Ultimately it was largely produced by Costello and Roger Bechirian, and released on one disc. The album peaked at number 19 in the UK Albums Chart, spending 26 weeks in the listing. However, Edmunds did produce the album's opening track, and sessions with Lowe yielded "Looking for a Love." This latter track, and one other album outtake produced by Bechirian and Costello, was appended to a 1997 UK CD reissue of East Side Story, as part of the band's 6 of 1 box set. The set included the band's first 6 studio albums, all digitally remastered. A year later, each separate CD, including the expanded East Side Story, was made available for individual purchase. The album was a definite break with Squeeze's new wave sound, as it contained songs influenced by rockabilly, R&B, blue-eyed soul, Mersey beat, and psychedelia among other genres. It also contained Squeeze's last top 10 UK single, labeled with Love. East Side Story was the first album for new keyboardist Paul Carrick, replacing Jools Holland who had departed in early 1981. He sang lead on the track Tempted, which became Squeeze's first US chart hit. Shortly after the release of this album, Carrick left the band for a solo career, but he returned to Squeeze for a time in the early 1990s, playing and singing on the Some Fantastic Place album, Reception. In 1989, the Toronto Star music critics took to look over the albums they had reviewed in the past 4 years to include in a list based on commercial impact to social import to strictly musical merit. East Side Story was placed at number 2 on the list, only being beaten by Thriller by Michael Jackson. The Toronto Star went on to note that songwriters Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook hit their creative peak in 1981, grafting Motown rhythms, country melodies and close harmonies onto a nervy new wave soundtrack, at once ironic and sentimental. East Side Story is a masterpiece of kitchen sink drama. From the shattered war bride in Labeled with Love to the harried housewife of Woman's World. Quote, track listing. All songs written by Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook except as indicated. LP Side A. In Quintessence 2:55 produced by Dave Edmunds. Assisted by Neil King. Someone Else's Heart 3:00. Tempted 4:02. Piccadilly 3:26. There's No Tomorrow 3:27. Heaven 3:49. Woman's World 3:42. LP Side B. Is That Love 2:31. F-Hole 4:41. Labeled with Love 4:44. Someone Else's Bell 3:08. Mumbo Jumbo 3:13. Vanity Fair 3:09. Messed Around 2:42. Bonus tracks. 1997 reissue. The Axe Has Now Fallen 3:51. Look In for a Love. James Alexander. Zelda Samuels 3:00 produced by Nick Lowe. Personnel. Chris Difford, rhythm guitar. Backing vocals. Lead vocal on Someone Else's Heart and Heaven. Glenn Tilbrook, lead vocals. Lead guitar. Keyboards. Paul Carrick, keyboards. Backing vocals. Lead vocal on Tempted. John Bentley, bass. Backing vocals. Gilson Lavis, drums. Additional personnel. Elvis Costello, additional vocal on Tempted. Backing vocal on There's No Tomorrow. Del Newman, string arrangements. Charts. Album. Single. Other sources. A&M Records AMLH 64854. UK. A&M Records SP 4854. US. A&M Records CD 3253. US. East Side Story at Discogs.com.